Hello my friends, and welcome to my channel. My name is Severiano Paoli, and today we're gonna talk about the double bass. So, welcome back to this series of video about the bow. Today's video is, I have to say that, a little bit biased. A lot biased. Because today I'm gonna talk about the typology of bow that I love the most, which is the Dragonetti bow. This is the sort of bow that you'll see me playing with most of the time. That's the bow that I really like. I really like how it feels, I really like how it sounds, how it plays. So, you'll see what sort of enthusiasm and love I have for this device. Nevertheless, I'm going to try to be as impartial as possible, as I always am, or at least try to be. So, let's get started. It's impossible to divide the history of this bow from the one of the man who gave it his name, Domenico Dragonetti. Now, there's no need, at least on this channel, to present who Dragonetti was. He's been one of the greatest personalities in the history of the double bass, and his contribution to the development of this instrument, to the development of the music and of the technique of the instrument has been. Dragonetti has been not only a fantastic instrumentalist, but also a great composer and an amazing entrepreneur in his time. We'll talk probably about him in another video because I'm planning to do that. But what I can say is that a good part of what made Dragonetti so great came most likely from the bow. Dragonetti was renowned, among many things, for two aspects. That he was able to phrase amazingly with his massive gas producible double bass, and also for his incredible staccato, ristaccatissimo, he was able to achieve with his bow. He was very well known for the clarity of his articulation and for the massive power he could drag out of his instrument. And I truly believe that this design had something to do with it. We don't really know who had built the first bow Dragonetti was using, or the first bows, what he would have been using while he was still living in Venice, so before moving to London, where he would achieve his greatest fortune. Musicians back then used to be pretty crafty, probably much more than we are nowadays. And call me a romantic, but I like to think that Dragonetti might have built his very first bow and of this design, and somehow infuse it with his genius. But unfortunately, we're not able to know it now. What we know, on the other hand, is that when he moved to London, the family, very high-rated family of bowmakers, the family Dodd, started making bows for him. And nowadays, we still have a bunch of these bows around. Very lucky are the owners of such bows. I've had once the chance to try one, and it's just amazing, really great bows, even after almost 200 years. But now, let's take a closer look at these devices. So, here there are three Dragonetti bows to see. Let's first take a look at what they have in common. As you can see, the three of them have a pretty straight stick with a slight hint of curvature, which is also given by the way it's made here. You see, it's a pretty high tip, which curves like this. The top bow is made out of Pernambuco as much as the second, whereas this one is made of ironwood. Ironwood is a denser wood than Pernambuco, with similar characteristics. I had that made because I needed a heavier bow for some orchestral situations. And Marco explained me something very interesting, that in the 18th century, late 18th century, there was a shortage of Pernambuco, and they started using ironwood because it was still possible to find, and the characteristics are not that far. The first bow, the top bow, as a fixed frog, so there's no screw whatsoever. It is a clip-in frog, and these silver rings that are very shiny are meant to simply secure the frog, but the frog stays in place also by itself. This is made after an historical model. There's plenty of these bows, and the other ones have a screw, so the tension of the hair can be adjusted by means of this. But now let's take a look at how this bow works, how it sounds. That's why we're here, no? The first sensation you have when you take this bow in your hand, at least what I feel, is a sensation of elasticity, and you feel that the bow is active, is ready to bite. And you can notice it by this, look. I'm literally just letting the arm fall down and not controlling this movement, and yet the bow bites the string and makes it sound properly. And if it sounds like this when I'm not controlling it, it means that if I do it properly, I can really get a very clear, clicky, crispy articulation. And this is what, in my opinion, makes this bow special. This capability of articulating very clearly down to the shortest note, both in piano, pianissimo, up to the most grand fortissimo, from to and everything in between. And of course, you know that I'm a spiccato lover. With this bow, playing spiccato is the easiest thing in the world. It's not necessary to do anything. What you have to do is simply make sure, because this is what this bow likes to do, it doesn't jump away from your hand and it hits somebody in the audience. But as long as your hold is secure, this bow is just gonna give you enjoyment. After seeing how easily this bow can make the bass sound, even with the shortest articulation in all dynamics, well, it comes by itself where Dragonetti's staccatissimo came from. Of course, from his talent, but also from the gear used. Otherwise, why would he have used it? I imagine him playing for example, when he played the 7th Symphony of Beethoven with Beethoven himself, him doing the 75 pages of this articulation, which are tiring, guys. They're really tiring for the bass players. And thank you, Ludwig. And I can imagine him playing that completely effortlessly and not being too tired after. At least after the concert, was probably still able to lift his beer glass, And that's how you feel when you use a Dragonetti bow. You don't get tired by this technical stuff. And really, I think that's a great advantage. And of course, this characteristic can be also seen in Dragonetti's music. For example, if you take a look at the second waltz, it begins like this. There's this very long continuous staccato, ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. And you can articulate it very well with such a bow. Not that it's impossible to play with others, but with this it just comes better. Of course, Dragonetti was well known also for his ability to phrase beautifully, to sing with the bass. And this is perfectly possible with this bow. As a matter of fact, I believe that the Dragonetti bow is the most versatile tool in the most versatile design among bows. Like, for example, if you want to play it just works beautifully. As you can see, the Dragonetti bow is an extremely versatile piece of gear. It's a bow which you can really do anything from Baroque music up to classical, romantic, modern, even jazz or whatever you like. I've actually seen players in modern professional orchestras, like for example, my friend Robert Franenberg from the Rotterdam Philharmonie, using this kind of bow and playing any kind of music. Or I've seen it in a pop orchestra. I can't recall now which one, but from the United States. If somebody knows it, it's an orchestra where everybody has a white, like a white tuxedo. If somebody remembers that, please write it in the comments below. And there is that's a jazz orchestra, and one of the players uses a Dragonetti bow. It's just a very versatile tool with which you can do like a lot of things. So why not? Now there's an interesting story I have to tell you. Dragonetti was, of course, a great name in his time, and was known pretty much worldwide, or at least at the European level. That was pretty much the word from the musical point of view back then. And the news about Dragonetti and about his bow and this technique reached France. And so did the design of the Dragonetti bow. And the French started building it. But there was a problem. That the French were playing overhand. And this is a bow that you hold underhand. And while this is extremely comfortable, this is non-human. This is the most uncomfortable thing in the world. Let me do that. So the French guys built this, and they said, the hell? I mean, this doesn't work. They even tried to adapt it to their own way of playing by building something like this. This is original. This is original from the 19th century. I'm really lucky to have one to show you. You see, it's kind of similar in the spirit, in the idea. It has, of course, like a French bow frog. So it's not meant to be held like this, but to be held like this. And I haven't tried more of this. I don't wish to, actually. This thing sounds very well. It's a beautiful piece of wood. It's an abomination. Yeah, this is so heavy. And it doesn't really work, although it sounds nicely, but if I start doing this, you have to call the ambulance because I'll destroy my arm. But so, anyway, this is just to say, the French were amazing. There have been amazing bow makers in France, and not saying that in France they're not able to buy bows. No, they built excellent bows through the ages. Just this was a misinterpretation of a design that led to a pretty funny result, let me tell you that. So my friends, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I've tried to be as brief as possible because I really love Dragonetti, I really love this kind of bow and the subject, and I could stay here the whole day playing for you and talking about it. But, and of course, I can't make videos of 2 hours. But please, if you have any question or something to add, or if I said something wrong, if you agree, if you don't agree, please write in the comments below. If you liked the video, please like it and share it with your friends. If you didn't like it, share it with your enemies. And I wish you all a very good, it's now Saturday, so I wish you all a very nice Sunday, a very good weekend, and a big hug to all of you, my friends, in this difficult period. It's difficult for all of us, but we'll all come of it together. So, thank you so much for watching, and see you at the next video. Ciao!